Hello everybody, welcome back, good to see you. What are we doing today? I have no idea. Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out together. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own builds using alchemy. Create your own builds and synergies, I should say. So if that sounds interesting to you, give it a wish list. I would appreciate that. You can also support the game on Patreon. Again, if you support at the top tier here for at least 1 month, I'm going to send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches so that you don't need to buy it on Steam, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So again, if you just subscribe to this at 1 month, that's basically like a pre-purchase, but you'll also have your name included in the credits. So it's a little bit of an extra perk for those of you who support the development financially. You can also go ahead and check out my Udemy courses if you're interested in learning how to build games in the Godot engine. I've got a number of courses available for sale. Each sale helps me out as I'm funding myself for the development of Alchemortis. So every sale, every donation from Patreon, all of that helps a lot. But you can also help by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, following on Twitch, wishlisting the game again, and you could join the Discord server, which are all linked below. So thank you everyone for your support, and let's get right into it. Hello, Jackie Daytona. Welcome back. Good to see you. I'm glad that you are enjoying the Godot utilities changes with the new generated signal connection methods. I'm very much liking that change as well. I was thinking about this the other day. I think there might be a slight there might be a slight issue with it, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at it, but it works for the most part. There's no like bugs or anything. It's just, I'm not sure exactly what would happen if you connected to the same signal with the same method multiple times. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but I just need to check what that does. But anyway, hello Zachary, welcome back, good to see you. Emerson, hello, welcome. All right, so what are we doing today? Well, I'm still on the combat VFX. I spent some time just doing that refactoring, seeing all the red in the diff was pure bliss. Yeah, that is definitely a very, very less verbose way of doing that. It's the kind of thing that, I don't see why it shouldn't be added to the engine as just part of the normal Godot source generators. Like, we already have like source generated methods for emitting signals, so it only makes sense to have source generated methods for connecting to signals, right? But anyway, let's take a look at the backlog here. So this VFX source from cards, I'm actually decently happy with how that's going. I did make some tweaks to the damage a little bit later, but I think we're gonna need to see how these effects look in game in like a real scenario before I figure out what to do with it. I did make some tweaks to some of the visual effects. They're probably not going to be super noticeable, but I think the axe looks a little bit better. I may get rid of that like particle trail there, but I just think that this looks already visually more interesting, generally speaking. So I'm probably okay to merge this into master. And of course, I'll keep doing work on the visual effects as I think of things to do. But I think for the most part, it's all right now. Now, there is a little bit of an issue here with the fade out. I don't know exactly why that's happening. Let me think about this. So when the board... Let's see. When I call kill on this board, I think... Fade out. Fade group component, fade out. So I think this effect player component is a problem. Yeah, I don't know exactly why that's happening. It does turn it to visible false. Actually, I think maybe I just have like a fade out here. Get cards on board, fade out. Visible equals false. For the fire particle effect, how are you handling its movement? So the movement it's a Bezier curve that's generated. It's just pure code. So it's a Bezier curve that's generated with a couple of like random parameters. And then the fireball is basically just using a tween. It's a tween method. So the method gets called every frame, and then based on the progress through the tween, it basically samples or gets the value of the Bezier curve at that time or at that offset and sets the position of the fireball to that. And so since the Bezier curve is being randomized and it's being tweened along that curve, we get different fireball movement every time a fireball is created. So yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, that was one of the places where the AI implemented the Bezier curve logic, because it's just like pure math. Like if I look at my fire here, or is this it? No, fire. So this is the cubic Bezier here. Like, yeah, that's apparently the math for it. So. Again, one of those things where I probably could have looked that up on Stack Overflow, but so yeah. Anyway, that's how it goes. So I don't know why these effects are kind of glitching a little bit when the board fades out. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I almost think maybe this, I don't know, maybe this effect player component shouldn't be a child of the board. Although I don't know why the fade out would be causing a problem necessarily. Fade out. It is setting the overall visibility to false. Maybe that's what's happening. It's setting the overall visibility to false. It's briefly hiding all of the effects. And then when it fades back in, it says visible to true, which is re-showing the effects, but then it plays the fade in. So that's creating like a flicker in the effects. I think what I could probably do is... Yeah, maybe the effect player component needs to be somewhere else. Hello, O'Crames, welcome. Thank you for the Prime subscription. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So what do I want to do about this? I mean, one of the easy things to do, I suppose, would be to change... Instead of setting the overall visibility here, what I could do is maybe just set the... I mean, do I even need the visible equals false, visible equals true here? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't need that. Hello, OK Water, OK, welcome. Good to see you. All right. Let's just blast through this, hopefully. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. All right, so we'll call that fixed. I'll get rid of this. Okay. So fix effect flickering on death. Cool. All right. Are you going to play the Slay the Spire 2? Probably not. Although it does look like they have a Necromancer class, which is very tempting. Okay. Actually, there's one other thing that I want to do. I want to experiment with creating like a lunge animation for the card if it is doing damage. So I think what I'm going to need to do is, if I look at my card rendering server, there's this set position root. I don't know if I want to modify the position root directly. I think what I might want to do is... I almost want to create like some additional position root offsets that I can maintain as like one-offs. So the position root position is used for tweening all kinds of things with the card for animation purposes. And the thing is, like, I have to be very careful not to get in a situation where like a tween is modifying the position root position, but then another tween that modifies the position root position takes effect shortly after or something, and then I end up in a bad state with respect to the position root position. Like, I basically don't want to end up in a situation where there are multiple tweens fighting over this singular value. So for things like a combat animation where I would want it to like lunge forward a little bit, I think what I want to do is create like an additional temporary position root offset, which can be added to the position root, the current position root position. And then I can just modify those individual offsets on a per tween basis. So I think I have an approach in mind for this. Let me think. Play drop animation. So let's create a public void, create, I don't know, position root tween. This will be tween here. Var tween equals create tween. Okay. Tween.tween method. We want to do set temporary position root position. We're going to want to associate this with a tween and a vector 2 position. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to say we're going to do maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe I do. I don't know. I actually don't know how I'm going to do this. Let's see. I'm thinking about having like a dictionary here. Position root offsets. Let's do callable.from. I guess we do need a vector 2 here. Okay, so we're going to say offset position root offsets tween equals offset, update position root offsets. We're going to say var total offset I don't think I need to do this. I can do for each var offset and position root offset values. Total offset plus equals offset. We don't want to do this one. We don't want to override the position root here. We just want to do total offset is equal to position root position. And this becomes total offset here. Do I want to add the offsets in here too? And then position root position is equal to position plus get position root offset, I think. Oh wait, no, I don't want to do that there. I want to set the position there and then do position root position plus get position root offset. That's what I want to do. And then this is going to also be... Actually, that can just be that because that's already reading in the position root position. Okay. All right. So do something like that. And then we're setting the tween equal to the offset there. Update position root position offsets. Okay. And then what? I'm going to have to update this method here, but that's all right. And then we can return the tween out of here, so I can add stuff to it if I want to. My only fear with doing stuff that gives supporters keys off platform is that those reviews don't count towards the review numbers. Oh, really? Do you think it will matter much ultimately? Well, I hope not, because I think... I mean, if that is true, I guess that's a little bit unfortunate, but at the same time, like, I'm hoping to sell more copies of Alchemortis than the free, or not the free, but then the Patreon keys I'm going to give out. So I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping that Alchemortis does well enough where the relatively, like, it'll be a relatively small number of people who end up getting free keys, right? Because let's say that a couple hundred people over the lifetime of development subscribe at that tier where they get a key. My goal, my pie in the sky goal for Alchemortis is to sell 50,000 copies, so that's like a rounding error, right? So I'm hoping that won't be a problem. Hello, RN Genesis, good morning. Do you use the state machines much in games like Alchemortis? I do. As a matter of fact, the entire thing that runs the entire like game overall logic is a state machine. So you can see here, state machine, add state. So this run manager coordinates all of the interactivity of the game, basically. It sets up the map states for traveling. It sets up the combat states, the combat victory states, the boss state, the player died state, all that stuff. So yeah, Am I using a state machine anywhere else? Simple state machine. Yeah, I'm using state machines also for each of my events. So I'm kind of using like a hierarchical state machine. It's not an explicit hierarchical state machine, but it is. So a hierarchical state machine is a fancy term for like nested state machines, basically. And so, for example, when I go into this state event, I'm detecting what the event type is. So an event would be like obelisk or booster pack or whatever. But each event has its own state machine because each event works slightly differently, right? And so I'm isolating the individual event logic to their own event state machines, but they all have a common, like, finished signal, for example. So this base event state machine, which is abstract for all the event state machines, it has this finished signal. So all I need to know in my run manager, for instance, is that this state machine has completed everything it needs to do when the finished signal is emitted, and then I can continue on with the normal gameplay flow, right? What is the rendering server? Explain in a few lines, and why do you have it? The rendering server is like the direct access to how Godot renders things on screen. So when you add nodes into the editor, like Sprite 2D nodes, when you add materials to the editor, what you're essentially doing is that you're using a visual GUI-based way of interacting with the rendering server. When you set up all those nodes and you set up those materials from the editor, what Godot is doing under the hood is Godot is hooking into the rendering server to display all of those things. But the reason I'm using a rendering server here directly is to avoid the instantiation overhead of instantiating a scene that has a bunch of nodes, because there is a bunch of overhead with adding nodes to the tree, and that becomes very apparent when you're trying to do what I was trying to do, which was instantiate like 100 scenes all in one frame. Because of the complexity of the card scene as it was previously, that was taking a bunch of time. And so by removing that instantiation overhead and hooking into the rendering server directly, I got rid of the vast majority of that overhead with the same visual result, with the same ultimate end result as constructing that all with the scene. So basically it's a one-to-one relationship between what you're doing in the editor and what you can do with the rendering server, because like I said, ultimately Godot uses the rendering server under the hood to do all the rendering and material assignment and stuff. Hey, how you doing? I got a challenge for you. Guess where I'm from? Serbia. I say Serbia. Cool optimization it is. Yeah, it is. The fact that I don't understand C# nor much pixel art theory, I still watch your live. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's good to have you here. Okay, so this create position root tweed, we're going to have to see what this does. I'm from Sudan. I was close. I was close. Anyway, so callable app from vector 2. So this is going to need to be slightly different. Oh, wait a minute. Where is this being done? Play trigger animation. So I actually don't know where to do this animation. Have you ever met any of your subscribers IRL? Aside from my real life friends, no. No, I have not. Welcome, Minnie Smith. Good to see you. So I think I might need to change this actually. I don't want this tween method in here actually, because I want to be able to control this outside the class. So what I will do is I will return tween and callable. Can I do this? Callable. Return. So that just sets up the pieces that I need. And then in my effect player component, play effect for source ability, I've got this damage here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do var tween method is equal to base card node create position offset tween. And then I can do tween method. We're going to do from vector 2.0 vector 2.right times 8 set ease tween.ease type dot in dot set transition cubic. Why is that not working? Oh, duration. I'll do 0.2 and then tween method. I don't know, let's see if that works. So I should see, oh, and this needs to be flip. So var direction. Okay. Let's see if that works. I know you said they'd expected development to take 8 months. Why do you think it's taking longer? Scope creep, more complicated and time consuming than you expected? Is it scope creep? I don't think it's necessarily scope creep because like the scope of the game hasn't really changed that much. What has taken longer than I expected was getting the fundamental systems to work from a game design perspective. So like figuring out what to do with the map, figuring out how the combat works, all that stuff ended up taking quite a lot of time and several iterations and may require more iterations. So ooh, that's kind of cool actually. That's much cool. Now I wonder if I should do that for all cards actually. Do I even want to do this just for the damage, or do I want to do this for everything? If not, attack animation played this frame base card. Oh, contains base card. Okay. His E-celeb status will someday get him spotted at McDonald's. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That'll be quite the day. Oh. Why is that not working now? What in the heck? What? What is going on there? Oh, I have some debuggers. Get position root offset. Do I have to do this? Oops. We'll just do that. I guess I don't need this anymore. Okay. Let's see what happens here. So now these are both going to do their forward attack animation. Also, there's one thing that I want to change there too. This trail has explosiveness on it. We'll get rid of that. Have you tried the Big Arch Burger yet? No. No. I like the double quarter pounder with cheese. The reason why I like the double quarter pounder with cheese is because it's a made to order burger, which means that they cook it up fresh every time you order it. So you don't get like the dry patty that's been sitting under the heat lamp for several minutes. It basically comes right off the grill onto your burger and into your order. So it's always like super hot and juicy. That's why I like it. Little McDonald's hack for you. Yeah, they're made to order. So I don't know why it's unique with that burger, but it's always fresh. It's always fresh off the grill when you order that one. Life hack, yeah. Oh, those are not... Why can I hover over this? Oh, that's not good. Why is that not working now? Well, I'll fix that in a second. We'll see why that's happening. I can still hover over that for some reason. I've been a McDouble man all my life. I've been robbed, yeah. Another hack, ask for fries without salt. They will have to make those to order as well. Well, that could work, but what if you like the fries with salt? I guess you gotta use the salt at home. Good morning, Jeremy. Welcome. Okay, I gotta fix why ever that's happening. Enable mouse area. If I go to fade out, I want to disable the mouse area for every card. Oh, but now I don't know. I might have to do something a little bit nasty here. Okay, I think that should do it. Ask for salt packets. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. I'm not sure I like the idea of forcing extra work on servers. Workers for no reason is a good idea. Good morning, Ninja Link. You'll get no salt, but extra spit. Secret sauce. Were you part of the recent Next Fest? I had a quick look and couldn't see the game on there. No. I will not participate in a Next Fest until basically the game is done. Because what I'm hoping to happen is that if the Next Fest goes well, and I get a bunch of wish lists, I want to be able to capitalize on those wish lists. And, I think there are some people that say, well, the wish lists don't really get cold. Like, a wish list is good for as long as it's there. But still, I think there's a part of it where you want to capitalize on the hype, right? You want people to try the Next Fest version and go, wow, I can't wait to play the full game. And then release it, like, relatively shortly after that. But if the game is still, like, under pretty heavy development, and it's going to take another 6 months or whatever, I don't know if that's exactly a good approach. I think what I want to do is, Next Fest is basically, this is the demo version for the complete version of the game. And also the game comes out in 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Something like that I think is a little bit more appealing. Okay, so we fixed that issue too. All right, good. Handle is not initialized. I don't know why that's happening, but that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and merge this. I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick. Then we'll go ahead and open up Alchemortis again. I think that's a good strategy. Yeah, me too. I definitely lose interest if a game takes too long, although what's the point of being able to wishlist unreleased games if not to remind you when you've forgotten? Yeah, I think that's kind of the logic behind like a wishlist never getting cold, but like, I think there are other factors too. It's not just about like, oh, somebody will not, it's not as if somebody's going to become magically uninterested in the game 6 months later. But there could be things that happen in between then, like maybe a game comes out that is just consuming that person's time, right? And they don't have any interest in your game anymore because they've got other things occupying their interest. Or maybe a game comes out that's similar to your game before you release and that person just likes the other game better. I think that there are, you never know. I think it's just, it seems to me like it would be the most reasonable thing to say, like, you want to capitalize on your wish lists. At least the wish lists that are garnered from something like a public demo, like in Next Fest, I think it makes sense to want to capitalize on those sooner rather than later. But the kind of wish lists that I'm getting now where people are seeing the active development of the game, I don't think that those are the kind of wish lists that are going to lose interest if the game takes a while to come out, because if you're already registering your interest with a wish list now, even at this early stage in development without having even played the game, then I think maybe those wish lists are more likely to convert if the game comes out 6 to 8 months later, versus the people that try it at the Next Fest. They're interested, like, that is a hot lead, so to speak, right? And so capitalize on that as soon as you can. Anyway, but I don't know. I don't have any data to support this. This is all just like hunches I have. I have there's a marketing strategy in the works too for this game, but hopefully I'll be able to say something more about that sooner rather than later. treat wish lists like bookmarks. I could keep tabs and be notified if it goes on sale. Yeah, I think probably a lot of people do that too. It was mentioned before about different color filters for the game. Is that still a consideration? I'm thinking about mass appeal for the game. Yeah, I mean, I think I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. I think I can add like contrast and brightness sliders pretty easily to the game, which would keep the current color palette like relatively intact, but just allow people to brighten it up to their heart's content. But I'm not opposed to doing like alternative palettes either. I would just have to be really careful to like choose palettes that still look good with all the art being switched and whatnot. Actually, my friends and I were on Discord the other day, and my friend was going in Photoshop and like just applying a bunch of like hue and contrast and saturation filters to just a screenshot that I have. And there were some pretty cool color schemes that came out of that. So it's possible that I could just do something similar and kind of like make custom palettes that are a little bit different. One of my friends suggested making some of the color palettes like unlockables as well, so you could like have a really interesting color palette that is just, you have to actually unlock. Never play games on a hunch. I'm always looking for something specific in the moment. If a game is unreleased, I'll probably just forget and never play it, even when it's released. Yeah. If you don't like the color purple, you're kind of effed. Yeah. I was thinking just hue adjustments. I don't think I would do hue adjustments. I think I would like to have a little bit more control because I still want the game to look good. So I may just offer like alternative color palettes that still look good in the game, but also just, you know, it uses green primarily instead of purple or whatever. So it's definitely a possibility. I don't think it would be too technically difficult to do that either, because it's basically just overlay a shader on the screen and then map a color to a color that's being sampled from the screen texture to a color in the replaced palette. Should be relatively lightweight, easy to do. Oh, excuse me. So I'm not too concerned about that. Not too concerned about that. Anyway, let's do something fun. I think the VFX, that's still a work in progress, but we can call that done for now. So we do need to add a button to the main menu to access the unlock screen. That might be something interesting to do. So I'll leave it up to a vote for the chat. What do you want to work on? So one thing I could do is add a button to the main menu to be able to pull up the unlock screen. That's one thing that's in the to-do list immediately, but we can also do either artifacts, we could do reagents, we can do enchantments, enemy cards, player cards, all that stuff. So I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, put in the chat what you want to see me work on, and we'll go from there. And if there are no responses in the chat, then I will end the stream early. I'm just kidding. That won't happen. But please put your suggestions in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just pick something random to work on, and we'll go from there. All right, be right back in 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Button art. Did you decide what artwork for the unlocks button? I think it'll be like a book or something. Probably the unlock menu will be straightforward. Other than that, reagents or artifacts. Let's do the unlock button then. Let's do that. So it's going to go in here somewhere. Maybe we'll just put it like right here. I need to figure out where all these assets even are. Well, anyway, let's see. This is in Assets UI main menu. Assets UI main menu. Okay, so here's the main menu art. And so what I'll do here is I guess I'll just create we'll do unlock button. So I think I'm going to do a book or something. And this is going to be relatively difficult, I think, but we're going to try it. So let's see here. Maybe something like this. So we'll try to get the shape down first. Maybe make this a little bit thicker down here. Move this over. What the heck? Trying to make it look like there's a page kind of being unfurled here, but it doesn't seem to be working that well. Finally managed to get a build in my game that looks like a game. Nice little start menu, animated logo, save system, feels like a nice step. It's a build I could share to test things work. Awesome. Yeah, that is a wonderful feeling for sure. When you've got something that's actually playable. Let's see. I think kind of like it's kind of almost there. Well, I could spend forever on this, but okay. Well, maybe we just move on to actually making this work. Okay. Oops. Just trying to figure out what the shape should be here. I think that probably looks all right. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe something like that. For a second, I thought it was a lid for a stone coffin or a treasure chest overflowing with goodies. Spent some time animating the start menu logo in Sprite. Was nice to learn and see something look nice. Awesome. The book could be the codex button. Yeah. Hello, the malicious rabbit. I'm still in the ugly everything is a placeholder part of my game, so it's not quite feeling like a game yet, but the mechanics are feeling good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, even if you just get some quick assets into there, you might be surprised at how much of a difference that can make. At least it makes a huge difference for me to see like placeholder assets that are kind of representative of the final art of the game. It definitely, I don't know, it makes it a lot more fun for me at least. But your mileage may vary. Okay, so let's start. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna start filling this in. With some color here. Okay. It's going to be very rough to start, but that's all right. Something like that, I suppose. I guess this should probably all be red as well. Rinking, highlight the thing. Thank you. Okay, something like that. So I only have 3 colors to work with, which is a little bit of a pain in the rear, but that's okay. Actually, I suppose this should be like that. Do I have only 3 colors to work with? Yeah, I do. Okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this out. Let's see. What else could I do here? I mean, the other thing I could do is I could turn... Well, let me think. Let me try something. Let's take all this. Take this. Well, this is not going to work so well, but let me just see something. Yeah, maybe something like this works a little bit better. I need to create room for like highlights and such. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there. Mechanics before art, but definitely makes it feel alive. I still don't know exactly what art style I want yet. I don't think I want to do pixel art for it, but I haven't fully decided. My placeholder stuff is pixel art. I made an A-sprite for now. I'm debating on making it 3D, but also scared to do that because it's so easy for 3D to look and feel terrible to play. That is true, yeah. And there's only one part of the game I would really benefit from being 3D, and I could still work around that with 2D. Yeah, this is why game development is more of an art than a science. It's just about making the best decision for your use case, right? And that makes it really tough because a lot of it is just like it's the subjective experience that you want to create. Hello, Wooius, welcome back. Good to see you again. All right, well, I don't really know what to do here. Wonder if I make this. I'm going to do something here. We will see if this works. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with this part here, but that's all right. I'm just going to start adding some shading in here. This should be... I don't know. This is being a little bit tricky. Hello, A6 Giddy World. Welcome, welcome. Shoot. It's hard to do this that matches the style of the rest of this. How's it going? It's going well. Thank you for asking. Hello, Fool Off the Rot. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with this, to be honest. This whole section down here is just being a pain in my rear. Just being a pain in my rear. That looks cool as hell. Thank you. I'm trying. I don't... Yeah, there's a couple of issues here. I think the problem is that mostly, like, this has so much highlighting on it compared to everything else that it kind of looks out of place. You see how everything else has, like, very minor highlightings, but is otherwise just, like, solid purple. But this, I guess because of the way the light is coming down, like, I don't think it makes sense for the pages to be anything other than, like, fully highlighted. So that's kind of the main problem I'm running into. Maybe if I go a little bit lighter on, like, the strong highlights. Just go a little bit lighter on the strong highlights here. Then maybe I could do something like this. Maybe to emphasize the fact that words are on the page, I could break up this highlighting a little bit. That might work. I don't know. Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? That looks better, I think. Oh, man. Why is this so hard? Kind of bright. You should use lighter shade and even darker shade to make it more detailed. I have 8 colors. Well, actually, I have 3 colors to work with. There's only 3 colors on this entire screen. So it's not... I have this color, and this color. You know what? It's probably part of the issue is I'm not using... It's almost like I'm not using the black enough, so maybe I just need to use more black. Say it's so hard, but that looks really good, in my opinion, especially for only 3 colors. Yeah, thank you. I think Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just not looking exactly like what I want out of it. So I think maybe I'm just not using black heavily enough. Like if I get rid of some of this, yeah, there we go. So it's not 3 colors, it's 4 colors, right? It's black plus these three colors. So if I use black more, okay, then we can do this. I got rid of my lettering, but that's all right. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. I could just make this part under here almost pure black, I think. Yeah. I'm just gonna recolor everything. Let's get the black working the way that I need it to. And then we can worry about coloring after. Okay, so that's looking better. All right, now we want to be really sparing with the highlight colors, I think, to make it look consistent with everything. Okay, and then for here, we can do this like this. And actually maybe go a little bit heavier on the highlight there. And then down here, do I want to do a highlight here? Maybe? I guess we'll figure that out in a second. Okay, and then we do these highlights relatively sparingly. Maybe that's all right. Before leaving, I want to say the art is truly a masterpiece. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks for joining. Perhaps you should use the bright blue to draw attention to the buttons just a little. Oh, the bright blue, this one. I don't know, how are we feeling about this? I think this, this more closely matches everything else now. I think that's probably good-ish. Still want to know if there's like something I can do here. Blue skull eyes, blue book writing, blue glow lantern. Let's see. The problem is I don't really think this blue looks that good when it's adjacent to the dark purple. It just looks kind of weird to me for some reason. I mean, that looks kind of good, I suppose. We can certainly try that. We can certainly try that. Does something like that look better? Might look cool. You like the book? So cool, thank you, Kusei. Do we like the blue stuff on there? What are the effects when you hover the mouse on them? We'll go and take a look at that in just a second here. I need to do this with the unlock button. The blue does make it eye-catching to its elements. Hello, Eto. Okay. I don't remember how I'm supposed to... Don't remember how I'm supposed to export these. Let me see. Do I just go ahead and export these all? I'm kind of scared to do this. Do I export these all? Let's see, lantern background. And it looks like I'm just supposed to go ahead and export all these. So, well, let's hope that a bunch of things don't change when they're not supposed to. We'll export all those. Hello, Eto. I like it, but I'm biased. I think it does solve like a readability problem for sure. Oops. Let's see, what all changed? It updated to grass. Oh, I probably don't. Discord button. I mean, the main menu still looks the same, so that's good. Oh, that Discord button is supposed to export with grass. Okay. Let's just undo that then. Let's undo the grass. Okay, anyway. The start button got updated, so that's interesting. Got the unlock button now. Okay. That's probably okay. I should standardize this, but anyway. So we'll just go ahead and duplicate one of these. Maybe try writing start in blue on the sign, change the particle system in the lantern to blue instead of trying to add blue to the sprite. Yeah, that could work. Text could look jank on the sign. Yeah, I don't want to do text. I mean, there's text here, so I think the text would be a little bit redundant. $47 by $26. All right. Let's just see how this looks. Oh, I might skip the menu actually. Oh, no, it won't. I don't think so anyway. Yeah, I think the blue is a little bit nicer for sure. Okay, so now we need to implement that. Hello, Junie. If I don't bother you, I'm curious on how did you make the clouds and fog effect? That's just a noise texture, basically. So it's you basically just have a noise texture in the shader, and then you sample the noise texture, which is just like a grayscale image. So the value of that image will determine if there are clouds there, or if there are like clouds there. And then you could scroll the texture over time. There's a time constant which is made available to shaders, which you can use to like modify the UV that you're sampling. So you basically sample, you know, for example, this fog up here moves, I think, left and right. So you sample more to the left over time and more to the right over time, and that creates a motion effect while you're sampling the noise. And then it's the same idea for the fog down here. The fog has this added level though, which is a mask. So basically the fog texture is like a larger thing, but then there's a mask that determines where the fog can actually appear. And that was so that I could get it to like roughly stay at the ground level here. But it's very simple. I mean, it's not anything special. You can add some animations to the buttons. It would be cool if the blue on the sprites would be brighter when you hover them. And also the Discord icon could have eyes when you hover it with the same blue. Yeah, I gotta update the Discord icon, make that blue as well. But let's get this working and then we can go from there. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate the ideas. All right, give me a quick 3-minute break. I'll be right back, and we'll add this unlocks menu. So give me 1 second, or I mean 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Let's go ahead and add the unlock menu to this now. Fortunately, I think the unlock menu should work if I just instantiate this. So let's do this. Resource preloader. We'll add the unlock menu. Unlock menu here. Node private resource preloader. Resource preloader. And I also need the clickable control. I think that's what I called it, right? Yeah. Also, I need to add this to the clickable coordinator. I forgot to do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when this one is clicked, I actually don't know if I really need to do anything special here. I might just be able to do add child resource preloader, instantiate scene or null, unlock menu. That might be all I need to do here, actually. Let's see. Hello, Rin. Welcome back. Good to see you. There's no close button here, so I still need to address that, but... there we go. That is working. And just for fun, let's turn unlock ignore on. Just got up for a bit to write some more. Awesome. Oh, but there's no... Oh, the card tooltip isn't working here. Oh. That is a problem. Can I just instantiate the card mouse events manager in here? Does that work? I don't know. I might need the tooltip as well. Right-clicking on these things doesn't work. So I'm going to need to figure that out. Yeah, why isn't that working? Get card mouse events manager. I mean, that should be working. I wonder why that doesn't work. We create the unlock menu here. We show all cards. Add card tooltip hook, add inspector hook. This get tree, get first node and group, card mouse events manager. That is being added to the group. Why wouldn't that work? Let's just make sure this is not null. We'll debug this. Oops. I'm gonna go back. Card tooltip. On card mouse entered. Is this not working? That is not working. Does this work in the normal game? Let me see. I don't need the board manager, do I? Maybe I need the board manager too. Let's see. Oh, I do. Interesting. Why do I need the board manager? I guess that would be why. Probably need the mouse over board. Okay. Well, that's all right. I designed these managers to be basically standalone. I guess the card mouse events manager does have a dependency on the board manager, which is not ideal, but we can see all this stuff now. So that's good. Cool. All right then. I guess that makes sense. Now I should probably make sure that this works when I go into a game. Make sure that those managers are not holding like old references or something. That still works. That still works. Yeah, I think we're good. Cool. All right then. Nice work. I've been learning more about composition with my game. It definitely makes things way easier to have Lego blocks I can just snap in where I want. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are downsides to everything. There are trade-offs, but I think being able to construct your scenes with building blocks is like, it offers you a level of flexibility that's very, very nice for making stuff. Anyway, that'll be it for the stream for now. I may stream later this afternoon, so join the Discord to be notified when I go live. Otherwise, you can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. It's the game I'm working on right now. That would be great if you could help me out there. You can also support me in a bunch of different ways. All of those ways are linked in the description below. So check those out again if you're interested. And yeah, thank you all for your support. And if I'm not streaming again later today, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you there. All right. Go, well, have a good day, everybody. Sorry, I was messing with my camera. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.